You are here because the outside world rejects you.
Let's do it.
Okay, so in this video, we're going to talk about this TikTok video. Okay, so everything in this video is going to be about discussion of this as an educational stepping point. We're not trying to bully or harass or make fun of anybody's the person who posted the video or the comments that I'll bring up discussing this video. I'm just simply going to express why I said what I said. And because on TikTok you have like 140 characters, you really can't fully explain in that amount of time. And so figured a video would be a better response, and that way I could kind of break it down and we can talk about it. So the parameters of this video, there isn't much. I don't know if it's a wild caught animal or a captive animal. Clearly it's a corn snake that ate a lizard. The snake has regurgitated the lizard, and the caption was from the person who looks like a non-reptile person. Said something about it had an upset stomach or whatever. And I just simply commented the meal was too big. Nothing rude, nothing more than that the meal was too big. And of course, I received a lot of comments. But it doesn't matter. My thought process is, if we go back and look at this video, I actually have a still shot of after the snake has regurgitated the lizard, kind of almost a side by side. And my analysis from keeping snakes for the last 20 plus years and hatching literally hundreds of these things over the years, what I see is a prey item that is too big. Now, a lot of people came at me and said, oh, snakes can eat a food that's bigger than its body, you know, which is true. I absolutely agree with that. But a lot of those people are only thinking of the diameter of that lizard, and they're not thinking also about the length of that lizard. That lizard is also rather long. But with that diameter, you know, a lot of times it will, you know, when they eat something, say like when snakes eat other snakes, you know, you'll see that kind of get folded up in the stomach. So while when it's stretched out like it is, the diameter works for the most part. If you look at the video, there is some stretching between the scales, but not a lot. I really wasn't concerned about that. But it was the length, the combination of the length of the prey item is why I said that it was too big. But a lot of people, you know, want to quote that. Oh, somebody even said, my vet told me that they can. Well, yeah, I'm not debating that a snake eats a prey item slightly larger, can eat a prey item larger than its body. Yes, they do that. The other thing that I was looking at was the animal's behavior. It's a short clip. What you see is all there is of the clip. But you see after the snake is regurgitated, that it sits there. So in my experience, if they're regurgitating because of stress, because they're fearful, a lot of people say he's fearful. They want to expel that food item so that way they can get away faster, because having that meal slows them down. And I agree. I just don't think it fits for this scenario, because if you look at the animal's demeanor at the end of the video, after it has expelled its meal, it sits there. It's in the open, from what I can tell, and it sits there next to it. Now, that doesn't mean, you know, as soon as the camera went off, that thing, you know, hightailed it off, you know, out of sight, right? That could be. And I'm not saying first of all, I never said absolute that the meal that was the only factor. All these little things could be a contributing factor. My experience, the meal was too big. Um, another guy who was a ball python breeder chimed in and told me I was wrong. That again, snakes can eat items bigger than them, and that it was stressed from being messed with. Now that is a possibility. If it was a wild snake, it's potential, but even captive bred snakes, it's a potential that after they eat and you mess with them, they will regurgitate. Now this guy, his whole TikTok was all ball pythons. And I'm not saying he doesn't have corn snake knowledge, but those two animals are on different spectrums when it comes to feeding response. In my experience, ball pythons are extremely way more finicky, and yes, probably more likely to expel their food if they're being messed with too much after eating. Do all of them do that? Absolutely not. Corn snakes, with my experience, I've had very few corn snakes regurgitate for any other reason other than I gave them a prey item that was just a bit too big. That's the only thing that I've ever had. I have purchased baby corn snakes. I've gone to a reptile show, purchased baby corn snakes. While I'm at the show, and I don't recommend this, this is not an endorsement of this behavior. I'm just setting it as an example of the extreme that I've gotten away with. Let's just leave it at that. Right or wrong, it's worked for me, and I have not had an issue. But I've purchased baby corn snakes, that year's babies, in a deli cup, sitting on a table in a reptile show, full of stress, right? Because it was probably packed the night before. Tussled around to the drive to the show, set out on the show with lights above it, tons of people walking by, and it's in a little deli cup. I come along, I purchase the animal. From this table, I go over to the guy who's selling live rodents, buy the appropriate size Pinky Mouse, pop the thing, throw the live Pinky Mouse in there, close it, go out to my car, put this animal in the back seat, and depending on what show I'm at, it could be an hour and a half drive to 3.5 hours drive home with this animal bouncing in the car. By the time I get home, the animal has eaten the meal and it never regurgitates. Yeah, is that the rule? No, it's not. I'm not saying that's can be the way every single time, but what I'm getting at is my experience with corn snakes and how it's less likely that it was a stress-induced regurgitation. That's what I'm getting at. That's where I'm drawing from this. My opinion is being drawn from this experience that I've had keeping corn snakes. Like I said, I've had corn snakes. I've had problem feeders that didn't want to eat mice, who eventually eat mice. Like, I've dealt with problem corn snakes. So in my opinion, based on my experience, personal experience that I have experienced myself, I'm still sticking with that the prey item was too big, both not near as much the diameter, but the length is also a contributing factor. Now, the other thing is, we don't know if the animal is wild or if it was a captive bred. That could be. Of course, it ate a lizard, which leans a little bit into a wild animal. But some people still like to feed that kind of stuff, even though rodents are easily available and often more accepted. But, some people still like to, throw that oddball stuff in there to their animals from time to time. Variety is good, as long as if it was captive bred, that lizard was not a wild caught lizard for the risk of parasites that could be in the lizard that could then pass on to the snake. That would be my only concern. But those are all speculations. We don't know if those even are real, exist. But I'm just trying to address all the little things. So, could it have been stress from handling? Yes. Could it have been that the meal was too big? Yes. What else could it have been? Maybe after the animal ate it. If it looks like, I think the person is in Florida, and right now we're going through a little bit of a cold spell, at least for Florida standards. So if this animal was a wild caught on this cement patio, slab, whatever, and it ate a lizard, and now these temperatures are dropped, it could have actually regurgitated from stress of the temperature is not warm enough for the animal to digest the food. Because again, if we go back and look at the video, when you look at the regurgitated lizard, it's not, the digestion hasn't really happened on that animal. So this snake, another reason why I think it was too big, this lizard was not in the snake long enough for the digestive juices to start to work, to break down that lizard's body for nourishment, right? Go back and look at that. Maybe I'll just throw up the still photos and show you. Like, the animal is not digested. It's wet from being swallowed, right? So again, that to me goes back to being too big, because he's going to expel that quicker if it's too big. Certainly, he could have just ate it, and 5 minutes later, these people came across him, if it's wild, and then stressed him out by being around him, videoing him, whatnot. Certainly, it's a possibility. I just think it's less likely. That's the difference. I'm not saying anything is absolute. We don't know. It's just a short little video on TikTok, and some of you people have gotten crazy, like angry about it. I don't know. I'm like, look, I don't care. You can agree and disagree. That's fine with me. I don't go on the internet looking for validation from strangers. So maybe that's my problem. Why I find, so if you are one of these people who received kind of a trolly comment, it's because I don't take it seriously. I'm sorry. It's no disrespect. Maybe it kind of feels like it. It's not. It's light humor, because it's nothing to get worked up over. It's the internet. We're all going to have different opinions. The person who posted the video liked my comments. They didn't have a problem with it. And if anybody has a problem with it, that would be the only person that I would try to clear it up with and be like, hey, I didn't mean no harm. I was just simply offering you a potential explanation, whatever. So the one dude, another dude chimed in again, completely telling me the same statement.
Listen to the last round, meathead. Pay attention. You're saying the same shit that he said.
It wasn't too big. It's stress. And then later goes the comment, well, I think this video is just put in reverse. What? Wait a minute. How are you smart enough to tell me that I'm wrong, but yet you don't understand that when that snake is back regurgitating, right, as that mouse is coming out, that snake's mouth is wide open and the head comes out and the snake's up. Do you think the snake crawled up with his mouth wide open and just easily? You don't think he had to bite and then slowly work it down? Dude, you have snakes. You have a TikTok and you have snakes in your videos. You have a boa that I've seen for certain. And you think a snake comes in like this and it just goes down the throat? Like, I'm just picking. I'm not trying to be rude or an a-hole about this. I just find it comical. I see I don't know. It's just funny to me that you're gonna tell me I'm wrong, even though I could be. But then you go and say, "Oh, it's in reverse. This video's in reverse. He didn't really regurge." Like it doesn't even make sense. But anyways, I just wanted to post this video. I just wanted to kind of talk about it because I think it's a learning opportunity. Because there were some other comments in there that I found interesting. Somebody else commented that don't all snakes regurgitate? Like after they eat their meal and digest it, they regurgitate? Like, wait a minute. There are some people who don't realize that like it comes in this hole and there's an exit at the other end of the snake. Apparently. And I explained to him nicely. I was like, nope, it poops just like everything else does, but probably more like a bird than it does your dog. As far as, you know, there's one exit, you know, there isn't a 1 and a 2 back there. There's just a 1. And then somebody else commented, what was the other comment that kind of struck me as like, interesting. Okay, I looked. I couldn't find it. They may have deleted it. I don't know. It was a pretty interesting thing. Um, so yeah, other than the one that they didn't understand that they didn't poop. Uh, but anyways, again, this video is not about trying to make fun of anybody or poke, mock anybody. I think it's a good educational conversation to have, especially with a lot of people saying or regurgitating the same information that they've heard, but they haven't fully they know it, but they haven't really processed it. Kind of, no disrespect, but kind of like how a parrot talks. Like they hear it and they repeat it back. It's kind of like along those lines. Like the critical thinking behind what does that mean? So a lot of them said, it's a defense mechanism. It is. I agree. It is a defense mechanism. I do. But let's take a look at everything we have in the video to formulate this ideal of what potentially could be happening in the video. And again, there's no real need to be mad or angry about having this discussion. That's what I don't understand is how some people get mad because you have a difference of opinion. I like the idea of discussing it back and forth, and somewhere in the middle is a reasonable answer. So again, stress could be a factor, absolutely. Meal being too big, absolutely. Temperature, which would go back to stress, could be a problem, right? So I'm not saying the only thing was the meal was too big. I'm just simply saying that was of all things that was the more likely than the others based on the way the animal act and the way I interpret the way the animal's acting based on the animals that I've kept. Nothing more, nothing personal. If you disagreed, if you're finding this video from that TikTok, again, I don't even know what to say. It's funny to me that people get mad over this stuff. But again, I just felt like it was a good talking point. People are starting to learn. They just need to take that next step of again, not to be disrespectful, but thinking about it beyond just saying the phrase. Snakes regurgitate because it's a defense mechanism, because it helps them move faster away from the predator. True, but if that was the case, then why the snake laid still right there within the video? Again, within the context of this video, that animal stayed still after regurgitating. Maybe he hoped that the people that was attacking it would eat that lizard. If it stayed still, it wouldn't get attacked. Yeah, possibly. These are all possibilities. I just find it interesting. The evolution of comments that happened under that video. So I guess the good thing is people are slowly becoming a little bit more understanding of reptiles, snakes in particular, as far as some of their little behaviors. So that's good. That's good. But we're not done yet. And that's why I made this video. Let's continue that conversation. Let's keep talking and engaging with these people as positive as we can to help them learn a little bit more about what the words, the phrases that they're repeating. Let's keep that dialogue going, and let's just keep having fun with reptiles, because at the end of the day, if you're watching this channel, you love reptiles. And I thank you for being here, and that's gonna be it for this video. It was just a quick one. It happened fast. I just thought video response would be the best response. Again, TikTok limits your comments. So, and what the heck? I like making videos. I like talking about reptiles. It's a win-win. You guys get another video. So until next time, later.